Good morning. I'm out here doing my exercise. Um, I wanted to talk to everyone about the time when when my baby passed away on the same day of the bombing, September the 11th, the same day of the bombing, and the night before, the day before, and everything that happened, or whatever. But for the whole 9 months, I felt like me or my baby wasn't gonna make it. I was like very stressed out. I was married or whatever, and like me and my ex-husband, we had been having difficulties or whatever. I mean, we had got married like fairly young, like at 22 years old, and we stayed married for 17 years, but like it was a great deal of obstacles that we faced or whatever. He was dealing with situations and I were myself or whatever. We both had came from broken homes, so to speak, or whatever, because my ex-husband, he had came from the streets. Nevertheless, his father was a sergeant major, like he made it to the highest rank in the military or whatever. But my ex-husband, he used to live with him like sometimes or whatever for a little period of time. So to speak, or whatever, he was basically raised by his mother, and his mother had him and five girls. So he was the only boy, and he left home like at a fairly early age or whatever. And like for me or whatever, I didn't really just have stability or a stable home when I were growing up. I was like from here to there and everywhere. And my mom, she did a lot of things in front of me when I was younger or whatever. I mean, she wouldn't just, it was just things that I seen and I knew, while I was growing up or whatever. But me, it was six of us. It was my mom had three girls and three boys, and we had a very unstable childhood, me and my brothers and sisters. Nevertheless, they took five of my mom kids and they left me with my mom, and they knew she mentally, I don't think that she was equipped to even like be taking care of kids. I don't think she was, you know, now that I look back on it, I don't think that she was strong enough, or she had enough willpower, or, you know, my mom, she was a very beautiful lady when she, and things happened to her also that made her be the person who she was. And it caused her to, she just never was responsible enough or whatever. Like, we never had a stable home to live in. We were always moving from city to city, and so to speak, or whatever. But I'm going to come back with that part. I'm talking about the day before, and like the time before that, and when I lost my baby on the same day of the bombing or whatever. It was so devastating. It left me in a state of shock. And I think I was shocked for like many years, and I closed off that part of my heart and just, you know, just kept going, with life just after I had endured so many things or whatever. So to speak, I just kept moving forward. It was like part of me just left. Um, uh, But anyway, so to speak, before that happened, it was on September the 10th, or whatever I can remember. But like I say, I had been stressing a lot, like the whole 9 months, and I never missed a doctor's appointment or anything like that. So they never told me it was anything wrong with my baby or whatever. But the night before, I went into the emergency room because I felt sick. I felt bad. I was getting very nauseous and I was feeling horrible or whatever. So, God, He usually speak to me and tell me things or whatever. So, God had told me to go to the doctor or whatever. So when I got there or whatever, I asked, I was there for a little while, and they hooked me up to all the equipment to check my baby and all this and that. But I was very nauseous and sick from the beginning. Anyways, that day before, a couple of days before that, I had just been feeling horrible or whatever. So I went into the emergency room, and they, like I say, I was there, and they had started hooking up everything to check my baby, so to speak, and to see if everything was okay. But I kept telling, and it was like a little while before my doctor got there, and I kept telling her. So when she arrived, I was like, because I was already, due. I was already, it was time for me to have the baby anyways. But she just kept telling me the next day, and I'm like, oh my God, whatever. But I was sick. I was crying at the hospital, and they checked my baby and everything. My doctor arrived, and she checked me, and she told me everything was good. But something in my heart, like a knowing, before all of this came about, like for so many months before this occurred, this situation happened with me and my baby, and my baby passing away on the same day of the bombing. Like something just kept telling me or whatever, like that that something was wrong or whatever. And so I was always going to my doctor's appointments and stuff. They never said it was anything wrong with my baby, and so nevertheless or whatever. So I'm sitting here, I'm up there at the hospital that night before the bombing, and I'm telling this lady, like, no, could you please just take the baby out? I'm sick. I was crying to her. I was like, I just feel so sick. You have to take my baby out, please. And she didn't listen to me or whatever. And so I was crying and everything. And so they checked me and all this or whatever. And I was crying not to leave the hospital. I was like, no, you have to you have to take my baby out or whatever. And so she didn't listen. Again, I'm stating. So after that, I went home or whatever, and they sent me home from the hospital. I went home, and or whatever. So I was kind of stressing during the night or whatever, but I tried to get some sleep or whatever. So I went ahead and sort of went to sleep or tossed all night or whatever. And so the next morning or whatever, so I go back up there to the hospital or whatever. And so that's when she's stating she's gonna, go ahead and take my baby or whatever and try to give me something, So I was overdue already anyways. So we went into labor and delivery or whatever, and it just shocked me. It shocked me or whatever. I had my baby or whatever, and she died on the same day of the bombing. And she was like the biggest baby that I ever had. And I was just devastated. Something, it left me so empty, And it was just like, it just left me empty. I was just in a state of shock. It was like for so many years. I didn't even know. Like, it was all like, I felt like I was in a dream or something. Um, if you guys don't mind, if you would like and subscribe to my channel or whatever, but I'm coming back with the rest of this story. But God bless, and I'll be right back.